All right, guys, welcome to this week's deal of the week. And this is the buyer's market. We know this. It's time to be aggressive when you make offers, ask for things. Things have changed a lot, even in the last 6 months. So I want to go through real quickly, the four rules for buying in today's market. And, number one is you set the price. The days of asking price or over asking are largely over. It's few and far between. So if something's been on the market for more than a month, you can bet that it's overpriced. And if you want to make a move on that house, it's going to be under asking price. Uh, I recommend sticking to established neighborhoods at this point. Avoid, risky up and coming neighborhoods. Now is not the time to be a pioneer. You want to be in an established and stable neighborhood if at all possible. Uh, look for properties that have some new stuff, especially newer roof, HVAC, and electrical. You don't want to be taking out necessarily a home equity loan at a higher interest rate over the next couple of years and increase the cost of your ownership when there are properties out there with newer systems. So try to look for those, eliminate or mitigate to the extent that you can any potential investments in that kind of improvement over the next couple of years. Preserve your cash. And then finally, look for houses with broad appeal. There's nothing wrong with a two-bedroom, one bath, but they're harder to sell because you eliminate, quite frankly, most families and a lot of times a roommate situation. So if you can, get that 2-2 or even better yet, a smaller 3-2, those houses are easier to sell. So if you found yourself in 2 years without a ton of appreciation, you would still be in a better position to sell a house like that. So let's look at the first house here, and we're at 4211 7th Avenue North. Now, this is in the, one of my favorite neighborhoods, the Distant Heights neighborhood. They have it at 398, which is, I mean, look at this price here. Look at this, 218 per square foot, which would, a year or 18 months ago would have 100% been a fixer-upper. And now you get a house that looks to me to be move-in ready. So let's buzz through the pictures real quick, see what you get for 218 a square foot in Distant Heights. Nice clean exterior. And we'll stop for a second here on the floor plan because you have a kind of a true split plan, although this primary bedroom here in the back functions a little bit more like a in-law suite. You can see it's got like sort of a separate entry that goes through here. And then you have the 3 bedrooms on one side of the house. So, the house as it started out was probably a 2-1, which would have been this rectangle here, where you have the garage on the left side, you walk into a living room, kitchen, dining area, and then 2 bedrooms, and then a bathroom. It probably started as a 2-1, so it was added onto over the years. And now we have, well, you can see this section here was the addition. So, looks nice and clean. That looks like a newer front door. Looks like, newer floors, got nice neutral gray paint. Not sure what the deal is with these, mismatched cabinets, white and the darker wood here. Wouldn't be my thing, but it's certainly not a deal breaker. And those look like quality cabinets. Some nice natural light. You got a little buffet off to the side. A little bit mismatched on the appliance as well. You got black here, a stainless, black and a stainless here. So they've obviously been replaced at different times. Again, not the end of the world. And then, again, these are the quirky things that, they tell you that this is not a complete renovation. Recently, it was probably done in pieces. And not being critical of this particular picture here, but we see 3 different floor types in the same picture. They look all like it's laminate, but you've got a lighter laminate, a medium, and then a slightly darker laminate in the back. Again, not a deal breaker, not something that you wouldn't expect in a house that's been added onto over the years or that's been improved over the years, but not my favorite thing. So a lot of room here. This is the sort of, I think this is what they're calling the in-law suite. So it's got like a little kitchenette in the back. I mean, it could serve as a primary bedroom as well. And then this is a telltale sign of an addition. that when they put a mini split, not always obviously, but the AC that exists was probably not, and again, I'm guessing here, probably not powerful enough to do the whole house. So they put this little split. And, the upside is that you can leave the rest of the house not as cool during the night and then crank this down, which is pretty efficient instead of cooling the whole house. So definitely not a negative, a neutral at worst, and maybe even a positive, I would say. So again, this is sort of the in-law suite where they've got kind of a kitchen set up here. This stuff would be easy enough to remove and turn it into a true primary suite. If you wanted to do that, I mean, it looks to be in okay shape. It looks like it's been used, to say the least, and that's the primary. Bathroom here with the stackable is in the primary bathroom. These are the two other bedrooms, and you can see it's got the terrazzo floors here, which you could easily, do carpet or laminate or tile over the top of. Some people really like the terrazzo, which is nice. A bathroom that probably could use a refresh. If the sort of pink and gray was your thing, it looks like it's in pretty good shape. A window, an old jalousie window here, I would definitely get rid of and put a new sort of impact frosted window there. I think would be helpful. So, and then the second bathroom is pretty big. You could tell that this is probably a renovation from maybe 12, 15 years ago, based on the based on the style. So, and again, this is I think the other large bedroom, and it has the mini split here as well. This one probably could be used as the primary because it does have the bathroom. And so outside looks like it's in good shape. And let's just go through. We've got here, and the AC is 2021, roof is 2020. So we've got some years left there, which is fantastic. Again, you don't want to be shelling out 18 grand for a roof here in a couple of years or have insurance issues. So those two things are nice to see. And then the big one here is they haven't been on the market that long. So coming up on 2 months now, July 19th, they started at 468. So they're down 70,000, which is they're down to 218 a square foot on this house, which I really like. Now, I would like it better, and we'll just go through the rules here. This was 53 days on the market, started at 468, and they've had a price reduction, so hopefully we've got a realistic seller. Distant Heights is a established neighborhood. It's dead center of St. Petersburg. It's not a flood zone. Most of the houses there are well maintained. They're similar in size. A lot of them have been added onto, but I don't think you get any surprises if you buy in there. We're looking hopefully at low maintenance, especially with the AC and the roof. Interior may be due for some updates at some point, but this could be put off until the market firmed up, obviously. And the broad appeal here is you got a 4-bedroom, 2-bath layout. Now that primary in-law suite in the back is a little odd. It wouldn't be my taste. I'd probably maybe redo, or maybe I keep the sink in there, maybe turn it into a coffee station, but that little bar sort of kitchen setup would not be my taste. But a 4-2 here in St. Pete is a in-demand family style home. So you're looking at your maximum buyer pool in case you needed to sell. And then the crime score in Distant Heights is low, on a 3 out of 10. If we look at the price value, it's at 218 a square foot. The neighborhood's 288 a square foot. So I don't care what anyone says, this house is still dirt cheap and it's move-in ready, even if it might need some upgrades. I like it at 210 a square foot to give you some room in case the market continues to soften, which would put you at 383. And of course, we're in a flood zone X here, so you wouldn't be required to purchase flood insurance. So again, looking at this price here, price per square foot, I mean, this is a lot of square footage, 1824, 4-bedroom, it's 2.5 baths, and or is it 3 full bathrooms? We'll have to double check that. At 218 a square foot, I think they might have a little bit of room to move based on the amount of time they were on the market. But if you're looking for a family house, or if you're a single or a couple and you're thinking, hey, maybe we'll get a roommate, you'd rather have an accessory dwelling unit in the back, like a separate structure, but there is a separation on that primary suite in the back, that a roommate back there, might be less intrusive, or obviously a family member as well. So I really like this house. Let me know what you think. Is it still overpriced at $398, $218 a square foot? That is 2020 or 2019 pricing, to be honest with you. So let me know what you think on that. If you want to see it, let me know. As always, I remind everybody that the commission rules for real estate agents has changed. So I'll put the link in the description, and I wrote a short booklet to explain how those rules now affect you. You have to sign a buyer's agreement before you see a house with a realtor, and you could be on the hook for your agent's commission, but there are some ways around that. But you got to know before you start looking, obviously. So let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel, make a comment, like this video, and we'll see you on the next one.